Welcome to Networking Unleashed, Building Profitable Connections. I'm your host, Michael Forman, here to help you turn relationships into real opportunities. Today's guest brings a refreshing approach to leadership. She teaches the happy CEO method, a way of running your business without burning yourself out, and the 4 P's framework that shows leaders how to stay steady, confident, and clear no matter what they're facing. We're talking about what it takes to show up as a kind of leader that wants to connect with, follow, and work alongside. If you've ever felt stretched, if you ever felt stretched thin, struck in the weeds, or disconnected from parts of your work that once excited you, this conversation is going to land you in a big way. I would like to introduce to all of my listeners Charity Brown. She is what we're talking about now. I'm going to have Charity, I'm going to have you introduce yourself. And how did you get where you are today?
Yes, thank you, Michael, for that amazing introduction. I sure hope your audience gets a lot of insight from our chat. So, yes, I'm Charity Brown. I'm the creator of the Happy CEO Method. I'm also an author of Create Clarity with Charity and the Evolutionary Entrepreneur podcast. And I have had a long journey. So, yeah, people say I look really young. They can't believe all that I've been through, but I'm not going to tell you how old I am today.
That's okay. I've learned not
Okay.
to ask.
Okay. But yes, I've had 25 years as an entrepreneur. In my first career, I went to beauty school right out of high school. I was the oddball that didn't want to go to the university. I wanted to use my creative. And so I did that. And that was my first business. I started a freelance business in my little hometown in Oregon. And while I was in that business, I realized I knew nothing about business. And it was my first failure, actually. I guess it wasn't a complete failure because I was still learning, but it drove me to get a business degree. So my nail business and my little freelance business helped me get into business, let's say. And I went and got a degree in business and accounting and ended up opening a freelance accounting and bookkeeping business in 1999. And so that was like when I first started business and started feeling that I really had a skill because one of my first client was an amazing mentor and I would have never been able to do it without her. And thank goodness I was encouraged by the right people and that I did reach out to mentors and coaches or I would never be where I am today.
It's great. That's absolutely great. I've been in business for 40 years, give or take a few years. Started out in the Air Force myself and had my businesses brick and mortar, and I turned it into virtual. But enough about me. This is all about you. So let me ask you the first question. What does it actually mean to be a happy CEO? And how does someone know when they're not operating from that place?
Yeah, happiness, we have our own perception of that. All of us do. And that's what we need to find. What is happy? Okay. So I feel happy when I feel like joyful and I'm doing something I love, something that makes me exhilarated, something that makes me feel fulfilled, something that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And a lot of times working with CEOs, because I've had hundreds of clients that are business owners, and I worked in corporate America as a fractional CFO for many years. And so I worked with a lot of CEOs and I was the CEO of my own restaurant chain. I had 5 restaurants and lottery facilities in Oregon. I used to help franchise restaurants. So I know what it feels like to be on the front lines and having 300 employees and feeling the pressures and the stress of being a business owner. And so I can go back and only tell you from my experience what it feels like to be an unhappy, frustrated, overwhelmed CEO. And we were always taught to keep your poker face and never divulge this information. You don't ever want anyone to see your weaknesses as a business owner or as a boss. So you end up stuffing a lot of things, feelings, crisis, not processing things appropriately. And so in the inside, you end up being very chaotic, stressed, and can lead to a lot of other things. So that would be the human condition, because I think as even parents and people that are in leadership know that feeling of responsibility and pressure. So there's ways to handle all that, but you don't really get that in the university or from folks or just general society. You have to seek tools that will help you be able to process those kinds of pressures. And that's what the Happy CEO method is. It's a 4 P's framework, and it's helped me immensely and hundreds of other people. And I'm really excited to share it with you guys.
Great. That's great. I can't wait to hear all about it. Many leaders carry the weight of their businesses on their shoulders. How does the Happy CEO method help someone separate who they are from what they do?
Exactly. It's an identity shift because a lot of people live in the identity of, oh, I'm a business owner, I'm a son or a daughter or a dad or a mom, or I'm a millionaire, I'm this, I'm that, I am, which is separating themselves from their spirit and their soul, your soul position. So the difference is that's like a societal like labeling. And that is something that society and people have always projected, that we need to be like this to be successful. But really, the difference is how you feel on the inside. And that's why I really work on the inner gym, the inner fitness, and really getting in touch with what brings you joy, happiness, and fulfillment. And not from what everyone else thinks you should be doing or what society thinks you should be doing, but really what makes you happy on the inside.
Really, what makes me happy is nothing what I do for a living.
Right.
Before I got into what I'm doing now, because beforehand I was in banking, I was in mortgages, I was during a law practice, I was a sales and marketing director. I was doing like 1,000 different things. After was the CEO of a design studio, I had a pizzeria, a restaurant, so I did the whole gambit, but that wasn't from inside. I had to
No.
be happy inside. So
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's so important. And I bet you had to get some amazing mentors or coaches to help you steer that path and continue to remain connected to yourself so you can be happy and live a life that you love.
Yeah, I wasn't happy until I found the right mentor and the right coach. Once
Yeah.
I got those two, then I was on my way. Um,
Awesome.
okay, so for listeners who brand new to it, walk us through the 4 P's framework. Why these four and how why these four and how they shape leadership and connection.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So the first P, number one, is power. It sounds a little cliche, but it's not. The power of vision and self belief is extraordinary. And for leaders and business owners and newbies that want to live a life of freedom and have abundance and be able to be the boss of their own ship, their own CEO, you have to put yourself first, and you have to really envision what success looks like for you in this area of expertise that you're going to monetize. So if you have a skill, if you have knowledge, if you have a product, if you have something that you can monetize as a business, then the key is seeing yourself and envisioning that success. And like Dr. Joe Dispenza, I don't know if you know who that is,
No.
but he does this envisioning tactic where you just clear your forehead and you create a blank space and you just see blank, and then you project on it like a TV screen, and you watch yourself in your most successful state, hiking up the mountain, summiting it, standing in your executive corporate building with the view, triumphant. I won. I met my goals. Now I'm here. And then looking and feeling that exhilaration, and then writing your action steps down. What are you doing? Who are you with? How much are you making? What does success as an entrepreneur look like for you? Or even as a mom or a dad, or whatever your goal is, whatever that happy place is, you really want to observe it and then write down exactly what it is. And then you have the vision and then the self belief, like, really, do you think this is feasible and possible? And start believing, yes, I do. I know I can do it. If I had the right tools, the help, the framework, the support, the money, oh, I would do it right now. So yeah, that's like the first P is really identifying as that successful person and really understanding what that looks like. And then we move into the second P, which is planning. It's the business GPS. It's the coordinates of success, and it's custom, and it's a accountability goal making software that also has been endorsed by Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, who endorsed my investor pitch. And it's pretty much the business GPS, and it really frames out actionable goals and strategies in a very digestible way to be able to attain that success. And so that's the planning part, which is the second P. Are you guys bored yet? Do you have
No,
any
go ahead.
questions? I feel
I'm,
like I'm
uh,
rambling.
no, I'm listening intently to every word you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, it's also building up the confidence and clarity. So hence my brand, Clarity with Charity. It's at that point you're laser clear on what success looks like for you, what you're going to be doing, and how you're going to do it, and how much you'll need, how much profit, who's going to help, who your team is. But then you need to position yourself. That's the third P. Position yourself in the market space as an expert and an authority, and really know how to connect with your audience emotionally, psychologically, and find the people that you're filling that gap for, because usually products or services are solving a problem. Usually they're providing a service or a product that solves a problem or creates a better result than what's happening right now. You position yourself. And that part of our program, you get $1 billion branding strategy from my partners at Amenity Protocol. They give you all the right colors, taglines, keywords, positioning, what associations, what platforms. And then you have this strategy then to position your website, your business in the right place. We also do a bunch of PR. You get 250 placements in ABC, CBS, and NBC, and we help you tell your story. So that's what that's about, is getting real with who you are as an entrepreneur, what success looks like, what problem you solve, who your audience is, and getting super laser clear on that. And then we get into profits, the fourth P. And because since I'm a numbers girl, fractional CFO, numbers are important, but I boil it down to some very simple, just 5 key numbers that most business owners need to know, and the right tools to set up their business for success in that aspect, to be able to get capital, funding, and file their taxes and be able to scale. That's it. Then you're happy.
Right.
I got the money, I got the plan, I got the mindset, I'm ready.
You have clarity, right? You have clarity in everything. And I think that's what you're striving for. And that was some great advice. Okay, so how can somebody apply the 4 Ps to improve the way they network? And where do most people unknowingly block opportunities?
Wow, that's a great one, because networking is the lifeblood of any business. It would be foolish for anyone to think that they don't need to network, point blank, whether they have a product or a service. And now that COVID's over, getting in front of people and rubbing elbows with the right people in the right rooms is magical. And you probably only need 5 referrals and you'll have a full-fledged business and never have to do a whole lot of marketing. But it is tricky because people don't get trained on how to network. So positioning, the third P, we go over like associations, network communities, platforms, because you need to be in front of your people. And a lot of people just wish market or wish network, and they just show up. There's gonna be people here, people there, but now you're spinning your wheels and maybe presenting to people that aren't really interested in your products, or maybe there's just too much competition and too many competitors. It just dilutes everything. So yeah, I would say networking, you have to be very authentic if you want people to really bite. Or it's just like, here's my card, shake your hand. Oh, this is so unauthentic. Everyone just pitching, pitch fest, right? Yes, it's very important that you know your pitch. We do that in the GPS. Like, you have to be able to say who you are, who you serve, what problem you solve, and But you don't want to get in the elevator with someone you've never met that might be your next client and just look at them and be like, hi, and then pitch them. That's a turnoff. Everyone hates that. And that's the block. But everyone gets so excited. They just want to hand out their cards. They just want to say who they are. They just want to say what they sell. And people are just like, that's so like disingenuous. Like, I'm over it already. But it takes a long time to be able to authentically move a room and see who your clients are. You have to study people and your product and very strategically communicate that to people in a way that doesn't come off salesy and pitchy.
Yep. If I can just take what you had just said, because that's what I go and talk about. Everything that you just spoke of, I go across the country and I do workshops, I do breakout sessions, I do coaching. All my students, they know everything that you just said is what I teach. And
Love it.
actually, yeah, so it hit home. It really did.
Awesome.
What are the biggest blind spots that keep leaders from showing up as their best selves when meeting new people?
Yeah, they get stuck in the ego or the monkey mind and the unauthenticity of what everyone's thinking of them. They have to prove and they have to do all this stuff that just turns people off. And it's really that inside job thing I was talking about. You have to go into a room like be confident in who you are without having to prove it and be like constantly just talking about yourself. When you're in those rooms, you really want to talk about the person you're talking to. You want to show interest in them. And so taking all the attention off yourself, because that's a lot of people that go into networking, I car, my website, my new product, my this, my launch, la 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 la. There's 100 other people here doing the same thing. So you don't want to keep doing that. And because people are looking for authentic people that are really into them, not you.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And one thing that I always profess is whenever you go to a networking event, you're always thinking about the other person because you might be there to sell something. If you're there to sell something, you might as well not even go. But you're there to listen to everybody. You have to be active listening and you listen to what they truly have to say. And you don't want to come back with the next thing that you had to say all lined up. You want to repeat what they said, be authentic with what you're saying. And I use this line all the time. Listen, I like you. I like how you do business. I like what you sell. How can I make you more successful?
I
How
love
can
that.
I be a good referral source for you? And if I did my job correctly, they'll say, hey, Mike, I don't even know what the hell you do yet. And that means that I've done my job correctly because I've listened to everybody and I try to help them. What goes around absolutely comes around.
Yeah, I love that. It's really key. It's really key to be a connector, not just a
Yes.
seller. If you don't think if you, after listening to them, you don't think you could help them, always say, I think I know some people that could help you with that. Would you be interested in connecting and just keep connecting? Because a lot of times it won't always be your client. You'll listen to them and find out if you use some of the strategies to get information that will be helpful to find out if they are a good match or a client, if you can help them. I'm sure you have some strategies on that,
Yeah.
like
Well,
form and some other things.
yeah, no, I am what's known as a super connector because I every week I make it a point to connect at least two people together.
Oh,
Somebody that needs a service or a job or something, and somebody who can supply it. And I put the two of them together and I step away because I don't want anything in return. I step away, let them handle it. Now,
yeah.
what does that do? That puts the two of them like, oh, you know what? Michael sent him over to me, so let me send something over to Michael. So
Yes.
it goes around, comes around. So yeah, so it's very important. Be a super connector and just let it happen. And you can be aggressive, but you also don't have to be aggressive. I don't know how else to say that.
Confident, I think. People take
Confident.
confidence as aggression or arrogance, but if you have real confidence, it will shine through everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. You teach the way a leader feels impact and how they connect. How does internal alignment change the way people react to you in a room?
Oh, it's night and day. So the funny thing like I said, some people just start with the ego and it's off-putting because but if you connect internally and your true intention is to be a connector, to make new friends, to help be of service to someone else, to share your value. Like you have to have that dialed in instead of just chaos, money, more business, revenue, top line. Da, 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 da. People are going to be like, oh, I'm not just like a number in your queue. I'm not just another sale. Like, I don't want to be sold. And that radiates from people. Yeah, I can watch people in rooms all the time and just see it coming out. And then you can see the ones that are genuinely connecting and how relaxed and nice and how everyone wants to meet them. So,
Yeah, when you go into a networking event and what's called a servant's heart, and that's by giving and not receiving, it releases
right.
all the pressure off of you. It takes all the pressure off. You have a great time and you connect. So if you
Yeah,
go in with a servant's heart, everything works out well.
I love that. That's a really great way of saying it.
Many
Of service.
CEOs, oh, yes, and there are books written on having a servant's heart. There is a number of podcasts with just having a servant's heart. So it's a very big thing. But you truly have to believe in it. You have to be authentic with it. Authentic is thrown around because it's a new buzzword, but you have to be authentic, your authentic self. And yet, once you get through those barriers, it just opens up a whole new world. Okay, many CEOs isolate themselves. What toll does that take, and how does your method bring community back into leadership?
Yeah. That's the key. Like leadership for community is exactly what we all want in the end. That's like the legacy. When you can bring a community of like-minded individuals together where you can share and grow, like that's to me, that's complete success. And what was the first part of your question?
It was many CEOs isolate themselves. What toll does that take, and how does your method bring community back into leadership?
Yeah. Yeah, so isolation, it's a very, very lonely place, especially if your head and your heart aren't in the same place. And so a lot of CEOs stay in their head in logic and stay in their head in all these things that plague CEOs and business owners. So I don't necessarily think lonely is alone. I think for CEOs, it's good sometimes to be alone and think and get back in alignment with yourself, your heart, your brain. And it might feel lonely doing that if they're doing the right thing. But if they're doing it to retract, avoidance, just beat themselves up mentally, emotionally by isolating because they don't have anyone to talk to, they don't have a coach, they don't have a team, they don't have partners, or maybe they don't know how to ask for help. So I think probably for CEOs, they have to be alone for a while before they can lead a community because a lot of CEOs and business owners and bosses and leaders, they can project their energy on their staff, their team, their people. And so they regress because people avoid them and then they feel the discourse and then they feel the divide. And then you feel like you're a one person army and you're the only one on your team because sometimes it can feel like everyone else is not on your side because they don't have the liability, the responsibility. So I see why that happens. But if you have the right framework and tools and people in line. So that was a thing I wish I had back in the day when I had my restaurants that I didn't have a good mentor or coach then. I was a one woman army. I felt that. I felt the stress on my shoulders and I didn't want to engage with everyone. I would go home and just think and plot and figure out how to fix it myself. And I was alone, but I wasn't necessarily lonely. Everyone else might have said I was lonely. But I think as a human condition, we all feel loneliness. So I don't know. how to correlate that and community because that's it's like polar opposite. But you have to go through that to be able to have community.
Yeah, one of the last companies that I was coaching the C-suite executives, I sat in on two or three of the meetings. And at the fourth meeting, the I had just a one-on-one with the CEO, and we went through a lot of what you're talking about. And I said, you know what? You've surrounded yourself with yes men. You've surrounded yourself with people always agreeing with you, never contradicting. And that's not going to let you grow. It's going to put you in your
Mhm.
place. Unless you grow, unless you yourself come up with something, you're not going to have anything. So, my suggestion to that CEO was get a mentor, get somebody that's going to give you a little, go up against you a little bit and say, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Try it this way, try it that way. You need somebody to do that. You can't just always have yes men. And 4 months later, I got an email back. Thank you. Is exactly
Mhm.
what I needed. And he did. He started to scale. But it's
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. Okay, let's talk a little about decision fatigue. Networking often requires quick judgment calls. How does the happy CEO method help someone make clear decisions about who to partner with, hire, or collaborate with?
Oh, that's such a good one. And it all goes back to the first P because that's the foundation of everything. And you have to trust yourself. Okay. So it's self belief again and believing in one's vision and decisions and being able to tap into that and be able to sit and take a breath and trust yourself that you're making the right decision. Because there's snap decisions that need to be made all the time that you're not going to be able to consult your attorney, your accountant, or, everyone else, which is also good. Also reach out to your coaches and mentors and professionals, consultants that can advise you on certain. It is better when you have people to bounce information off of, but quick decisions, I always try to tap into my gut intuition. And it goes back to the first P, know thyself, and know when your no is certain and know when that's a hell yes.
Absolutely. I can think of so many different circumstances where I had to make a snap decision, and that's all I had to go by was my gut. Most of the time, I was correct. Some of the time, I wasn't, but I had to deal with
Mhm.
that afterwards. But I always trusted my own. But I also went to business with my brothers, so I always had somebody to bounce it off of.
Good.
Okay, so what does it look like when someone is strong in one P, but struggling in the others? How does that imbalance show up in conversations and relationships?
So much. So that's the other thing. It goes right back down the P, first P. So we got to master that. And it's like going to the gym. You got to keep flexing the muscles. You got to do it every day. You have to follow your plan, right? So if you're compromising yourself in one area and you're skipping things and you know it, then you're compromising yourself. So you're not going to have a very good relationship with yourself. So then you're going to have like shady relationships with others. It's just a proven fact. We track what we are. And that's what we want to do. But let's do that at a level of coherency, like we're like-minded, we're in alignment because you're certain, remember, about your plan, your vision, your goals, how you're going to do it. And if you follow through and you don't compromise yourself and you don't procrastinate and you don't backstep, and then because we can be our own worst enemy, and that's the whole challenge. It's a whole challenge. So it's very apparent if you're not doing step one, it will trickle through everything else. Same with step two. Like they're all very, if you don't have a plan, you'll just be chaos. You'll just be spinning in your head. You lose track of your coordinates and your map to success, and you'll be all over the place. Same, all the steps. It will be very obvious if you're not doing it. And that's what we do. We do a self inventory check every quarter just to see where we're good, where we're not. And then that gives us an area to focus on for the next quarter. Where can we do better? I measure things because I'm a numbers girl. So I like people to use numbers to gauge where they're at, see the success, see the areas that need more work. So that's helpful.
Generally speaking, towards the end of the year, because I was a restaurant owner myself, and
Oh,
the end of the year, I saw what worked and what didn't work. The things that didn't work, I got rid of and I brought in
Yeah.
something new. And that's always kept it changing and I always got rid of the old and then with the new. And that's the way that I survived as long as I did. Let's bring
Hmm.
this podcast full circle. And if every listener applied just one idea from the Happy CEO method this week, what shift would they notice in their confidence, communication, or business relationship?
Once again, the first Pete. It's just I'm like on a rerun, but it's so true. It's like even if you just focused on that for 3 to 6 months, the vision, just close it. Really take a few deep breaths and think about success. What does success look like to me as a CEO, as a business owner, as a successful person in whatever I'm doing? What does that look like? Because it is like a muscle in the brain that a lot of people don't use, but your subconscious mind, if you think it and you can see it, it really thinks it's happening. And so it's like tapping back in to your inner gem and seeing that dream, that success, and doing that every day and then writing it down. It's a great time of year to do that because then you'll have some frameworks to success for the next year to come.
Yeah. I wish I can show you my goal sheet that I have, and I write everything out. I write everything out from the year and what I'm proposing. I usually don't go past one quarter, like my goals for the next quarter. I may stretch it to the half a year, but I don't go any further than that because I try to do it once a quarter to go out and
Yeah.
do my goals.
Yeah, I do a 30, 60, 90, 120. But do you do the visioning? Do you see this board right here? Here's my
Oh yeah.
success life. Okay. So I love the look. Okay. I want to be able to help my brain create the vision. And so I go seek things that represent success to me in this coming year and then write about it. I love the writing, but sometimes writing, because I have journals from when I 30 years ago and I look back on it and I achieved so much that I would write about. But in the last 5 years, what I've achieved by just implementing this visual aspect, whether you do it on Pinterest, you can make dream boards, you can get one here, and then sitting quietly alone, doing that meditation with the blank slate on your forehead, and just really thinking about at that point, at that mark, how you want to feel, what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be earning, and dialing into those things you list and just thinking about the action plans and seeing yourself in a video doing that successfully will generate that subconscious mind will start just presenting everything to you as you walk out the door, as you are going through life. You'll see that it's conspiring for you now because you're really intentional.
Good. Good. Okay. It's powerful. Hearing how the happy CEO method and the 4 Ps bring more clarity, calm, and purpose into leadership is something every business owner needs to hear. If this episode sparked anything for you, a new idea, a moment of relief, or even a reminder that you don't have to carry everything alone, share it with another leader who could use it. Thanks for joining me on Network Unleashed, Building Profitable Connections. I'm Michael Forman. Keep showing up, keep building real relationships, and keep creating space for the version of you that leads with intention. Now, before I leave, Charity, I want to ask you if somebody wants to be coached by you, mentored by you, or with your use your systems, what's the best way that they can get hold of you?
Yeah, you can go to my website, charitybrown.biz, or any of my Instagram or my YouTube. And my podcast is on Apple and Spotify and all the others. Just look up Charity Brown, you'll find me. And then I do free strategy or clarity sessions, depending on if you just want to do coaching or if you want the business programs.
That's great. Charity, thank you so much for your time. This was a great podcast.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everyone.
Well, hold on, folks. Don't go anywhere. Let's hear from our sponsors. David Neal, co founder, Revved Up Kids. Revved Up Kids is on a mission to protect children and teens from sexual abuse, exploitation, and trafficking. They provide prevention training programs for children, teens, and adults. To learn more, go to revedupkids.org. Henry Kaplan, Century 21. When it comes to making the biggest financial decision of your life, leave it in the hands of a proven professional, Henry Kaplan. Henry is a global real estate agent with Century 21, celebrating his 41st year in business. No matter where you're moving, Henry has the right connections for you. You can contact Henry at 561 427 4888. A wrap, folks. A huge thank you to our guest for sharing such incredible insights today. And of course, a big shout out to you, our amazing listeners, for tuning in and spending your time with us. If you're interested in my digital courses, being coached, or having me come and talk to your company, just go to Michael and fill out the request form. Remember, networking isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. So take what you've learned today, get out there, and make some meaningful connections. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who could use a little networking inspiration. Let's keep the conversation going. You can find me on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, or my website, forman.com/podcasts.